Dr. Khan, what's your position on social media? A lot of our viewers, myself included, probably spend a little more time than we should on Twitter, and you get these notifications, you get these mentions, and you get into these kind of debates with people on social media. Do you think are you advocating like going cold turkey or taking kind of breaks? Like, how do you manage the need to stay engaged and or the desire to stay engaged with conversations across the web on things that matter to you, with having enough kind of presence and focus to get your day-to-day stuff done?
Sure. I advocate social media ration, because the problem is the social media, the information can spread like wildfire, especially negative information.
Mm-hmm.
And before you know, you're hit by a ton of notifications, people commenting on things. And it is very easy for people to get pulled into that negativity if they don't maintain caution. They need to, what I do, let me share with you.
Mm-hmm.
I spend probably 10 to 15 minutes in the morning, and again 10 to 15 minutes in the evening to get all my important information from social media and to communicate with people. I feel that's enough for me. Maybe some people need half an hour in the morning, half an hour in the evening. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And you set a time. Okay, it just comes back to simple basic discipline. I'm going to spend half an hour now, half an hour later in the evening, and then I'm going to get all the information. I'm going to let my friends know what I am doing. And I feel that is important because, again, your mind becomes whatever it focuses on. If you're constantly focusing on social media and all the negativity that's going on because of the elections or because of the pandemic, your mind is going to get infested with negativity, with negative thoughts. But if you actually, along with, using social media ration also, if you actively look into positive posts, there is enough positivity on social media. There are very good, whether Facebook pages or, Instagram or somewhere else, they're very good things. Why don't you focus on that? People can do that. It just takes a little discipline. And also, I silent my notifications beyond that time on social media.
Mm-hmm.
And my iPhone, I, turned off the notification for Facebook, Twitter, and all other platforms. Because every time I have my phone, like for example, I'm talking to you, then I get a notification, distracts me. There are simple ways to do it.
You talk in some of your writings about family. I was actually on Twitter this morning, and someone posted a very kind of moving tweet where she was saying she married this person. This person is a huge Trump supporter. She didn't realize it before she married him. I guess they were, married before the advent of Trumpism.
Yeah.
And now she's really finding it difficult to stay in a marriage because she feels like their core values are so different, and they can't have any conversation. He thinks that she's not a Christian if she votes for Democrats, and she thinks he's crazy if he votes for Trump. What advice do you have for people who are either married or related to people who have, complete diametrically opposed political beliefs, and it creates tension every time they interact?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a big problem, Tom, because I have seen many people personally who their relationships broke apart because of, whether they support Trump or, doesn't support Trump, and creating the conflict in their family. In fact, I have one of the people that I know. So her grandmother told her not to come to the Christmas party if she supports Trump. Like little 18-year-old kid, grandmother is like, or say 65, 70 years old. And then she told, if you support Trump, you're not invited to my Christmas party. I mean, that's crazy. And I have seen wife and husband fighting and, falling apart, friends fighting and having bad feelings towards each other. So my advice is people need to realize that everyone has their own perspective in life. I'm entitled to my own perspective. You are entitled to your own perspective. Maybe I do not agree with you, but I can be respectful towards you. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. People can have different viewpoints. And it is okay. It is totally okay. It's up to you. Otherwise, what happens is fighting and arguments, marriages falling apart. And there's another important thing on this topic that people need to realize is there are few absolute realities in this world. I call, absolute realities and relative realities. Absolute realities are like the sun rises in the east. The earth is round. The earth revolves around the sun. The Newton's laws of motion, law of gravity. Those are absolute realities. Everything else is a relative reality made up by our own mind, based on what you are seeing, based on what you are perceiving. And we all live in separate realities. I live in a separate reality. You live in a separate reality. And just because your reality is different, I fight with you. It's not good. That is not human. So people need to separate their political feelings from their personal feelings. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's great advice. It's hard to implement when you're, like at a Thanksgiving dinner and, a member of your family says something that really either is insulting to you or is just so disconnected, at least from your understanding of reality, that you can't just, it's very hard to just say, oh, pass the turkey. How do you find, because you feel an obligation to stand up for what you believe in, but usually it doesn't really end in a great place, because then they feel
exactly. You feel obligated to stand up and say something, and you're wrong. Mm-hmm. Or this is totally absurd what you're saying. You feel that is very honest feeling that the person is having right at the time. Mm-hmm. And then you feel like reacting. But again, if people understand that being reactive often doesn't lead to good outcomes, it leads to conflict. And what is the point of fighting with your family and friends for something that is happening in the White House? What I say is, what happens in your house is more important than what happens in the White House. No need to fight, especially with your friends and family. Be kind. We need to remind this ourselves, Tom, there is no other way. Nerds for humanity, being human, means being human, means being nice to other people, being kind to other people. Let them live their lives. You live your life. If you disagree with someone else, you say, well, they live in a different reality, and that is fine with me. That is fine with me. Whatever you think, you are creating in your mind using your thoughts. That's up to you. I'm totally fine with it, what you're thinking. If you live in a miserable world, that is up to you. I don't want to be pulled into that miserable world of yours that you're thinking in your mind. And this is important not only just about elections or Trump, Tom, but also is also important when it comes to all close relationship that we live in, right? For example, marriage. Because couples may have conflicting viewpoints. It happens all the time in the marriages. And that is okay as long as we respect the other person.
It reminds me, I was watching a little bio of Ruth Bader Ginsburg, And she was saying how she had gotten advice when she got married that sometimes it's important to be deaf from time to time.
Oh, yeah, exactly. You're 100% right. There is a story. Let me share with you a story about this, actually. People, once upon a time, there was a little frog. Okay, and that frog wants to climb a tree. And then all the other frogs look at that little one and say, hey, you can't climb a tree. That is not what we do. You need to come here, hop with us, you know? And the little one says, no, I want to climb the tree. And then starts climbing. It ignores what the other frogs are saying and keeps climbing. And again, all the frogs down here keep shouting, hey, come down, come down. And then the little frog looks down, ignores, and keeps climbing. Okay? This goes on for like 10, 15 minutes. And finally, the little frog climbs all the way up to the tree. Why do you think the little frog was able to climb all the way up?
Because he couldn't hear the people downstairs.
Huh?
Because he couldn't hear the people on the ground?
That's right. It's deaf to all the negative talk. The little frog is deaf, essentially.
Oh, he's literally deaf.
Literally deaf. It can't hear all the negative stuff going on around. And so it kept doing what it wanted to do. And sometimes we need to be deaf to all the negativity that is going on the TV, in the news channels, on the social media, what other people are saying. We need to be deaf towards all that. But even more importantly, you need to be deaf to your own negativity in your mind. Constantly, people's minds, there are negative thoughts like telling you can't do this. They make them doubt themselves, and people fall prey to that.
Yeah. I mean, I guess one thing that we should do with the time left is recap the 3 principles that you just opened with. And then also I'd love to give you an opportunity, Dr. Kam, to share any other thoughts you have for the audience or how they can learn more about, what you do.
Sure, absolutely. I'm going to recap quickly. And there's another thing that comes to my mind before that, I want to share. Most people are stressed because of this election season, and they don't know what to do. They feel anxious and worried. So how do we solve that problem? What they need to realize is your destiny really depends on what you think and what you do every day in your life. It depends very little on who is the president. Honestly, that's true. If you look into our history, for over the past, let's say 100 to 150 years, many presidents came and many presidents left. But the rich keep getting richer. The poor keep getting poorer, right? So what happens out there politically affects your life maybe 10% of your life, maybe 20%, maybe let's say 30%. But still a vast majority of your life, I say actually 90%, some people may say, okay, 80%, whatever the number. A vast majority of your life depends, your destiny depends on the thoughts you think and the deeds you do every single day, the habits you build. And that is where most of the focus should be for people in their lives. And that is how they are going to feel in control to lead a happy life. Because if you give away your happiness to external things, this happens, I'm going to be unhappy. That happened, and that's the reason I'm going to be unhappy. Then you're always going to be unhappy because there is always something happening. This is not to say that you should ignore your political activities. This is not to say that you should not support your people, whoever that you support, the presidential candidate. You should. But peaceful political activism, that is what I say. Be at peace. Know that your happiness lies within. What I call is the innate health. Your innate health is your natural state of mental well-being, where you're peaceful and joyful. And that is how you are born. All of us. If you look at a little kid, 5-year-old kid, they're naturally happy. They don't have to listen to Dr. Calm. They don't have to take any stress management courses. They don't have to meditate. They're naturally happy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, we were also like that at one point of time in our life where our happiness is not conditioned to any external circumstances.
Gang gang, 2020. Gang gang, 2020. Gang gang, 2020. Gang gang. Yang gang 2020. Yang gang 2020. Yang gang 2020. Yang gang. Yeah, yeah. Yang gang 2020. Yang gang 2020. Yang gang 2020. Yang gang. Yeah. I want 1,000 a month, 1,000 a month. I want 1,000 a month, 1,000 a month. Let's get this bread. Freedom dividend. Are all y'all paying attention? Automation gonna sweep the nation unless we get him in. Andrew Yang 2020 freedom dividend. Yang gang 2020. Yang gang 2020. Yang gang 2020. Yang gang. Yeah, yeah. First we get this money, then on 420. He gonna give some high fives to some high guys. Decriminalize marijuana so we can smoke if we wanna. Down with the opioid trend, up with the mental health thing. Yeah, math, yo, it's just math. Yo, it's simple math. Yo, can you do math? Yo, eliminate super PACs, color stars making stacks, student loan forgiveness plan, cops wearing cameras and climate change is real again. Science rules. Teachers bringing home some bread. Medicare for every citizen. That's nice. Andrew Yang 2020 freedom dividend. Yang gang 2020. Yang gang 2020. Yang gang 2020. Yang gang. Yeah, yeah. Yang gang 2020. Yang gang 2020. Yang gang 2020. Yang gang. Yeah, yeah.